Hello, hello. Okay, we're going to go back to some basics here. We have quite a few people who have their new makeup and just kind of wanted to go over the basics. So you've got your pretty compact, you've got your tins. My best suggestion is to leave the lids on until you know what you're doing with them, okay? So open up your compact, put all your pretty tins down, and remember that highlight is your foundation. And then, I don't have all the tins here with me, but highlight is your foundation. And then obviously contour and blush and illuminators. Just start off by organizing them all together. So you most likely will have two different foundation colors, your highlight colors. So just put groups together. So put your highlights together, your contour, you probably only have one. You may have a couple blushes, probably one, maybe two illuminators, and then all your eyeshadows. So take the lid off. Best way to do it, you have right here. I like to stick my thumb in the back and then push it down. That way you're not getting your fingers in there, okay? So you're gonna open up and save that lid, because say this is your winter foundation color. Once it gets warm enough outside, you can put this back in the lid and save it for 4 months later when you need it again. It does not go to waste, it does not go bad. And then just pop it in there. So I like to put my foundation colors first. And you don't need to memorize the names of them. Just open up both of your highlight shades and see which was the darker one. Put the darker one first and your lighter one second, okay? And then you're going to put your contour in. It's just like a book. Or some people do it the other way. I like to do it like a book, how I read a book. So your two highlight shades, which is your foundation, your base, contour, blush. And then, I don't have anything right here. But then you could do your illuminator. And then on the second side, I have a bronzer, I have a powder, this is our perfume, and then a couple eyeshadows. So hopefully that makes sense of how to group them. You don't have to remember what is what, as long as you put them in right the first time. Then from here on out, you'll just start going for it. Okay, so I'm gonna do my face two different ways. So I'm gonna start with, say we want really, really light coverage. So for those of you who want minimal makeup, okay? So we're actually gonna start with contour first. And if you find you really like to do contour first, then you could definitely put your contour first in here, so you remember. Okay, and this is the Detail Hack brush. It is the best for contouring. I'm gonna put it flush with my ear, and then just come down and hug my cheekbone, which is right there. And I do like this brush because you can feel exactly where you need to go. Okay, so that is contour. What's nice about this contour is it is actually a foundation as well. So if you don't need tons and tons of coverage in through there, then you could easily just do this. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it right on the top here. So you can see it does give me coverage. It's not quite as full coverage as the highlight base over here, but it gives me enough. So this is more on this side. It's going to be more of we're putting the colors just where we need them. Okay, gonna go on the jawline and then under the lip. Okay, you can take the small end of the Detail Hack and rung. We don't want to go all the way over here, but almost kind of like on the high point of the nose, or the sides of the nose, and then blend that right up into the brow bone. It looks a little scary right now, but we'll fix it. That's what's so nice about this cream, is really forgiving. Okay, so that is all of contour. And then if you have the B squared brush, I call it B squared, it's brush and bronzer, but I can't say it. Okay, so I'm going to take the small end, I'm going to go into my darkest foundation color, and then just put where I don't have any product yet. So obviously I don't have any here. Okay, and if you have the right colors, it just goes on like butter. It's so nice. And I'm just using as tiniest bit amount. Okay, so it's like we're doing a paint by numbers thing. We put our contour here, and then anywhere that doesn't have any product yet, we're putting our foundation. And this is literally one single layer. Your highlight and contour could be done. It's not as full coverage, but it's beautiful. So if you are not as concerned about high coverage, but just want to blend your face out, blend out any, imperfections or whatever, you could completely leave it like that. You can also take, this is your lighter foundation color, known as like the light bulb color, and we're gonna put that, I like to start on the corner of my nose, and then just work up. So I start in a triangle, and then just blend that into here. Put a little bit of that brightener right there. I'll do the nose on the other side. So it was a single layer. We just added a tiny bit, just a little bit of brightness in a couple key spots. But your highlight and contour could be completely done right there. Okay, and then just a little bit of blush. And it's actually, you're melding the contour and the blush together. So don't feel like you're going above the contour. You're actually overlapping. Okay, and then you could just swap on over to your fluffy side of the B-squared brush and just kind of blend everything together. If you don't want to use a sponge, then I just always want to make sure I go over here because it's the thinnest part of your skin. And that's where the cream can sit or get a little patchy if you're not using a beauty blender. And I don't use a beauty blender every day, so. Okay, so your whole face could be done in minutes. It only took a few minutes and I could go even faster if I weren't explaining. Okay, I'm gonna take the lighter shade, my lighter base, and just prime my eyelid with it. Go into my lightest shade, which for me happens to be Sabrina. This is the Detail Hack brush. I'm just gonna go a little bit under my eye. I'm just showing how you can literally use 2 brushes for your whole face. And then take, what do I have here? I have Bubba, and put that in my crease. And then I have a little bit of Lullaby, which is a must. I have yet to put on somebody who it didn't just look so pretty on. And this is a little bit too big of a brush for this. So you can see I got it way down there, but I'll fix it. So yeah, everybody needs Lullaby. You're gonna hear me say that a million times. Okay. Go back to my illuminator. So just remember, highlight is your base, your foundation. Illuminator, think like that's what's going to give you the glow. Okay, so we just put that right on top of the cheekbone. Just a little twist of my brush just to make sure there's not any lines on that. Okay, we're good to go. So pretty natural. Is it going to cover every single little thing? You can still see some of my sunspots, but it's really blended, and look how glowy. It's not, you still see a little bit of little darkness in there, but it is really, does that pretty much look like my skin? Okay, so that is your light minimal coverage. Okay, we're gonna do this side of my face. Good thing it's nighttime. It'll look a little different, just a little bit. Okay, so when I'm doing higher coverage, I still like to do my B-squared brush, and it's not like I need to put a ton more on, but I'm gonna do a really thin layer of my base all over. This side, I have a lot more pigmentation, thanks to good old pregnancy. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a really thin layer. And it's definitely more, anytime where you're putting more on, this side you can see I kind of swirled on. This side where I'm gonna do a little bit heavier coverage, I'm really gonna press it into the skin. Okay. And just take that thin layer all over. So it's still a thin layer, even though it's a little more. Just always kind of buff down the neck. Okay, and then we'll brighten here. Okay, so we did that all over, and then I better make sure that eyeshadow's off. And then I'm gonna dip back here into my brightener and just go a little bit heavier. It's a buildable makeup, so you can always add more. I like to go on the side of my nose. That's where I'm really red. Okay, I already did everything else. I'm going to take this lighter shade, just go right down the bridge. Okay. All right, before I even worry about blending that in, now I'm going to go into my contour. Maybe you can't see here. This is the Detail Hack brush again. Okay, go flush with my air. I'm going to go right over those sunspots. So if I had just put my contour here without putting the base first, I would have blended out my sunspots, but not all the way. So every day, normally, I like to put what I'm doing on this side, I put a really, really thin layer of my foundation all over, brighten up those key spots, and then put my contour on top of that. Just because, especially on this side of my face, I have way more sunspots. And is that from driving? Somebody told me that, like on the left side. Weird how that works, but so I like to pat it in and then just make sure you're blending up because you want to lose that really pretty line. And say you do get a little overzealous with your contour, the beautiful thing is you can go back to your darkest shade and just really clean that line up. Okay. Now, do a little blush. And then we'll blend everything in. So on this side, you'll notice I just blended it out with my brush once I got it all on. It was light enough product where that works completely fine. Now on this side where I have a little bit more product on my face, there are some areas where I may get a little bit too much just inadvertently. And that happens to be for me normally right here and a little bit on my chin. So I have this is our Perfector sponge, and I got it wet right before I did this, got it soaking wet, wrung it out a few times, and then rolled it in a dry towel, just got most of the moisture out. So now I'm just going to blend and really press this into the skin, and this is going to push it into the skin, that's what I have, and pick up any areas where I have excess. So if you have oily skin, for sure this is something you're going to want to do. And also if you have larger pores. Okay. And I don't even have illuminator on, and look how pretty that is. But it's not sticky at all. It's not coming off my hands. Okay, so really pretty. Now I am going to put the illuminator on. And I guess I better finish this eyeshadow match. Even though I'm going to go get ready for bed after this. Okay, bring it all over. So this is a really good brush if you're getting ready to travel, because I've done my whole face with it, and really not the most detailed eye look, but it is possible. Okay, go back into this lullaby color and just put a little V in the corner there. Okay. And I've been loving Crush lately, so I'm just getting a little bit. If you do apply it with your finger, it looks way more pigmented and shiny, so that's why I'm doing that. It's called a payout. The payout is a lot higher. I'm going to take that lightest Sabrina color and just stamp that in there. I'm going to take the biggest side to my B-squared brush and just do a little bit of bronzer. Contour is in the receded parts of the face. Bronzer, I just think if I were to get a tan, it would be on the high points of the face. So top of the brow bone, top of the cheekbone, a little bit on the nose and the chin. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of them there, and then I always make sure to blend down the neck. And we're using just the tiniest bit of color here. Okay, so we've got that all done. I always like to look up a little bit closer to see if there's anywhere that needs a little bit more pressing or blending out. Everything looks good. Get some lips on. Get some perfume on. That's what this beauty is right here. Just put a little bit there and then inside of my wrist. Too bad I'm not going anywhere out right now. Okay, and then you can set with powder. You can see my tin is almost gone here, but I can pop that out and just order one single one. Never have to pay shipping, whether your order is $15 or $200. You're not gonna pay shipping if you live in the US. So just pops out. You can set with a little bit of powder in your T-zone. Remember, with this new makeup, if you've never used cream before, it may take 2 weeks for your skin to get used to it. Just like if you were to start new shampoo or conditioner. So always give your skin a couple weeks. You may find yourself having to use a little bit more powder the first couple weeks as your skin is used to having this constant hydration. But then after that, your skin will probably start producing less oils, and you'll find yourself not having to use powder as much. And you can also set it with a setting spray as well. That part, I say just start with what you have and then incorporate powder or setting spray later once you kind of get a hang and think of what you might want to change. So good luck with your makeup, and let me know if you have any more questions. If you give me questions, I will make a video just for you. Have a good night.